Hello everybody, this is JD, and there's something I want you all to realize. Your heritage is very, very important. No matter what it is and what it goes through, it is very, very important to what you are and what you do with your life. Now, I wish to let you all know a little bit about my heritage. What brings me to this point in life. The makeup of my family structure or my family tree. It's going to be as truthful as I know it. And there may be more to it, there may not be more to it. I don't know. But basically, here it goes. My father first, he actually was born in Canada. He came here to the United States when exactly? 9 years old or as an adult? I'm not sure. But his name was Cecile Ellsworth Crivaux, Crivea. And according to my understandings, he added the U while he was in the Navy, so they pronounced his name Crivaux instead of Crivet. So he added the U to it, and then they started pronouncing which is supposed to be correct. That's why he added the U. According to what I've been told, he was at Pearl Harbor, December 7th. I told he joined the Navy to get away from the war in Canada, in Europe, and it ended up catching up to him in Pearl Harbor. Now, on my father's side, my grandfather was James Laurel Crivaux, Crivea. And my mother, I believe, her name was Clara. And they ended up getting divorced sometime, and I was told that I have the eyes of my grandmother. And because of something that happened, my grandfather didn't like that too much. Oh well, can't have everything, can you? The truth is, though, my father's family actually came from Canada. Actually, my children on my side is the first where both parents were born in the United States. My mother was born in Brooklyn. Her name was Fester. Her name was Lorraine Barbara Fester, Festa. Her mother's name was Ava. I believe it was Barr, but you'll never find it under immigrations or out of Ellis Island. You'll find a Ava Fester, which they say was their cousin, but really she was not. We'll get into that in a little bit. My grandfather on my mother's side, I believe, was Anthony or Frank Fester. All I knew him was as Grandpa. But I believe his name was Frank or Anthony, as my Uncle Hootsy was. Anyone who's from Brooklyn and knows anything about the families in Brooklyn will know the name Fester, Festa. And yes, they are part of whatever you want to call it. And yes, they were controlling. My grandmother, when she was about 16 years old, after World War I, was bought from her family in Germany and brought here. I remember many, many times when we went to visit, when she would be in the apartment buildings, in the hallways, scrubbing floors, cleaning the stairs. Be one light bulb at one end, one light bulb at the other end of the level, and then the stairs would go down or the stairs would go up to another light bulb. And she'd be in there scrubbing the floors and cleaning things up. I've never known her to have money, but yet she could go to any market in the area and get anything. And they always said, remember, tell Frank I gave you this, or tell Frank you got this. And my grandmother would nod and smile, and no. My mother, Lorraine, was taken out of school when she was in 3rd grade, and she was put to work in a factory putting shoes in boxes. Now these are things my mother has told me. Now my older sister, Pinky is her nickname, argues some of those facts. What I told you is what my mother told me. Pinky tells me otherwise because she lived with my grandmother. But the information I got from my mother about her childhood and everything kind of goes along with that. When she was a little kid, they went at Christmas with all the family to the grandparents' house. She would get one doll, and each brothers would get one toy, an airplane or something. And then all the other grandchildren would get all kinds of things. And always the answer was, because you are the daughter of that woman. We own that woman. She belongs to us. But my grandfather, my great-grandfather, made a pledge to my mother that said the family greatly owes her, and that the family will always be indebted to her. So then, because of my mother, the family, by honor of their word, would be indebted to me. Just an interesting little fact. We never did ask anything. So, myself, I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I'm down here in Virginia, just south of Williamsburg, Virginia. The name of the hospital I was born in was Williamsburg. Very interesting. It's in Brooklyn. I was baptized in Brooklyn. If you go and you look at my baptismal certificates, when you're doing all the writings, my baptismal certificate now has stomped all over it, Black Power, Black Power, Black Power. That just shows you what little respect some people have of other people's beliefs. And that is wrong. I, myself, was 18 in 1966. 1968, I was 20. I joined the Navy in 1968 in July. I graduated from high school 2 years late because somewhere when I was about 7, 8 years old, I became a foster child in Connecticut, and you're not allowed to skip grades. Even though I had the marks for it, they wouldn't let me skip any grades, so I ended up graduating, taking college prep courses, and doing very, very well, extremely well. But as a state child, you weren't allowed to skip grades. And in Connecticut, a male was on this foster child program until they were 21, not 18. The girls were 18, the males were 21. I got off of it via going through to my aunt in New York, where I stayed and lived with my aunt. And when they transferred me to New York State, I had just turned 18, so then they released me to my aunt, and then my aunt sent me home to live with my mother, and I helped her out and stuff. Actually, I made the down payment for the house she had bought, ended up buying and living until the day she died. My sister Cookie and my brothers and other sisters will verify that to be a fact. I ended up working all kinds of hours for that. That's my heritage. Yes, there's Italian in me, and there's Canadian French, and there's German. And yes, I can successfully say that my grandmother, who died in 1956 when I was a foster child, as far as I know, was a slave in this country. My sister Pinky denies it, but what my mother tells me is a different story. So, and this is the truth as I know it. It may not be absolute truth, but it is the absolute truth that I know. A little bit about my heritage for you, because understand, if my grandmother really was a slave, am I now living a life worth the suffering that she went through in this country to bring me forth here? That's something to think about. I wonder about it all the time. You all have a nice night. I want you to know a little bit about me. Good night.